We do.
Let's go to John Slattery in Lower Manhattan. John?
I'm here on West Street, about 8 blocks north of the World Trade Center, which is where the police have moved us. And at this hour, the first priority can only be the recovery of any possible survivors that might be in the rubble. After that, it will be establishing a death toll, and at this point, it is anybody's guess, but it may well run into the hundreds. It was at 8:45 when the first plane hit, and many people who watched it thought, even though it flew in such a deliberate angle of attack, many people thought it might have been just an out-and-out accident. But at 3 minutes after 9, when the second plane hit, and I was one of those who saw it, I was already pursuing this accident down West Street, following police cars and fire trucks. It was just a mad dash of hundreds of cars trying to get to the scene. I saw the second plane go in. It took a higher angle of attack. It seemed to be going in fairly straight, and at that point it became clear that the flights had been suicide missions and intentional bombings into the two towers. With that, we saw people running away from the area, police trying to set up cordons and move people out of the area. I was across the street west of there at the World Financial Center. That's when those buildings began to be evacuated and people were going out. At that point, a lot of people tried to run over, not a lot, but many people that I saw tried to run over to the World Trade Center, telling police, I know someone in there. I have a loved one who is in there. And they were prevented from going in that direction. But there were many tears. There was an awful lot of anguish. And then with subsequent explosions, and when a portion of World Trade 1 hit the ground, there was an enormous burst, a cloud of smoke and debris that started moving north. We were north of the building, downwind, and that's where the debris started blowing. And waves of people started moving up. Stuyvesant High School was evacuated. Another school was evacuated. Literally tens of thousands of people started moving up West Street and up the sidewalks, including emergency people and fire people and police who were trying to establish what was going on. It was an unbelievable sight. I spoke to the chief operating officer of the Port Authority, Ernest Butcher, who told me that they'd had no prior warning of any possibility of an attack. This was a total surprise. He said he was trying to get a hold of his top staff at that point to try, that was before the second tower collapsed, to try and establish then what the extent of the damage would be. But this was it was unrealistic, the fact that we watched these series of events happen one after another, with the first catastrophe thinking that's going to be as bad as it gets, and then this subsequent wave, people just couldn't believe their ears. People were running away, running from the dust, trying to get in the clear, many people crying, many people worried about loved ones and worried about friends left behind, not knowing what the status was. And you have to remember, a lot of the police and fire who were the first to respond undoubtedly were still in the building. A lot of the police and fire bosses who get right at the base of the building had to be there when the buildings went down. One police lieutenant I spoke with said he said that their communication was down. He was trying to find out by word of mouth how many bosses and who might have been down at the scene. Still, authorities are trying to establish that now. While around me right at this moment, it's rather calm and orderly. At the scene, they are still trying to figure out what went on. This is John Slattery reporting live from West Street.
All right, John, that is John just a few blocks from the World Trade Center. We also want to